Please call the roll.
Chairman Najad.
Here.
Commissioner Beatty.
Present.
Commissioner Jabbar.
Present.
Commissioner Javid is absent. Commissioner Linton.
Present.
Commissioner Macon.
Here.
Commissioner Noyola is absent. Commissioner Pate is absent. Commissioner Karishi.
Here.
Thank you.
All right, good afternoon again. We have two sets of minutes of meetings of May 16th and June 27th. They have been sent to all the members, and if you do not have any revisions, comments, or suggestions, I would ask for a motion to approve those into the record.
Motion to approve both minutes of the meeting. Do you need the dates?
If you don't mind.
May 16th and June 27th.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a motion. Is there a second? We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. Good afternoon, ladies. We're going to get started with PZ 2022-264.
Good afternoon. File PZ 2022-264 is a request made by Chris Rhodes for an approval of a preliminary plat of Mustang Cat Sales and Service Center. This is a 20.13 acre development which will house a new equipment sales and maintenance facility for Mustang Cat. The property meets industrial lot size requirements, and water sewer will be provided by an extension of the city's facilities. The applicant wishes to extend South 4th Street's pavement within the existing platted right-of-way to access rear driveway to their property. A cul-de-sac is required as part of this extension. There is no room within the existing right-of-way for a cul-de-sac that meets all city standards. Therefore, Mustang Cat is platting the property to dedicate additional right-of-way for the cul-de-sac. The proposed roadway extension is not shown on the plat. The subdivision ordinance section 26.02.002 Part A subsection 7 requires the proposed roadway extension and cul-de-sac that must be shown with principal dimensions. Please specify whether the dimensions is face-to-face of curb or back-to-back of curb. Additionally, curb inlets are not shown on the plat. Section 26.02.066 Part A subsection 10 states that the location of existing and proposed storm drainage easements and improvements, which means they will need to submit design computations with the plans. Planning staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Number 1, show the proposed roadway extension and cul-de-sac with principal dimensions specifying face-to-face of curb or back-to-back of curb. Number 2, show proposed drainage improvements, for example, curb inlets. On your screen, this is the site, West Cardinal Drive to the north, and then South 4th Street to the west. And this is the proposed plat. Down here is where they're proposing the extension of the cul-de-sac.
Great. Any questions for the lady? This thing's already under construction, isn't it?
The grading has occurred already for the site itself.
All right, perfect. Okay, thank you very much. There is no questions for the staff, and we don't have public comments on this, so I would ask for a motion, please.
Motion to approve with the two stimulations.
Second.
We have a motion to approve with the two conditions, and we have a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. We're going to go to PZ 2022-266.
File PZ 2022-266 is a request made by Tom Rowe of Mark Whiteley and Associates. They wish to combine 2.5 lots into 2 larger tracts of land. The property owner, Mr. Reynoso, intends to build a single-family home on each lot. This replat will allow future homes to have more acreage and sizable street frontages to Jerry Drive. Planning staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Number 1, water and sanitary sewer utilities shall go to the rear of the property along Woodlawn Avenue. This is the area, or the subject area. And this is the plat. And we do have Mr. Rowe here present.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Rowe, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Tom Rowe, Mark Whiteling Associates, 655 Langham, Unit 14, here in Beaumont. Demi pretty much explained it. This gentleman wishes to build 2 new homes in the north end of town, and just reconfiguring those lots and actually kind of changing the direction. That subdivision originally faced Woodlawn. He's actually wanting the house to face Jerry. But the division was to give it a little bit more width for the development, the 2 new homes.
And you already have the easements drawn on your
Yes, sir.
drawing, okay?
So the services, like Demi said, would be on the Woodlawn side to get the water and the sewer.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions, folks, before I let him go? Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard, so we'll close the public hearing. We've heard from the staff and the applicant, Mr. Rowe, and it appears to be a simple realignment of the property. So I would look for a motion.
Motion to approve.
We have a
With
motion
one
to
condition.
approve by Mr. Qureshi. Is there a second?
Second?
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you, ma'am. The last one is, this is the last one of the regular meeting. So, PZ 2022279.
File PZ 2022-279 is a request made by Scott Bracken of Access Surveyors for approval of a replat of Section 5, Lots 1 through 8, Section 6, Lot 3A through 10A, and part of Water Edge within the Crescent on Walden subdivision Phase 1. This phase of the Crescent on Walden was originally filed for record in 2005. It was later discovered that Water Edge, a private street, was not constructed within the boundaries of the platted right-of-way. Section 26.02.003, Section C, Part 5 states, building lines and easements shall be shown and shall be defined by dimensions. Due to an existing water line that runs along the eastern edge of Section 5, Lot 8A, and Section 6, Lot 10A, a 15 exclusive utility easement will need to be dedicated to the city. The goal of this replat is to correct the right-of-way boundaries to encompass where Water Edge was constructed. Planning staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Number 1, add a 15 exclusive water utility easement to be dedicated to the city along the eastern edge of Section 5, Lot A, and Section 6, Lot 10. Number 2, additionally, it was realized after staff distributed the report that there will need to be a second condition. That is to add a label stating private road and utility easements along Water Edge, to show that this street is to remain private. This is the zoomed in aerial photography. This is zoomed out to show the area where it's situated along Walden. This is the replat. And then this is also a aerial or a bird's eye view so that you can see the red line is the original lot line and the green line that is running along here, that's what's proposed so that they can amend the pavement being onto essentially private property, or the right-of-way being onto private property. 54 notices were mailed to property owners within the subdivision. We received 0 letters in favor and 0 in opposition.
Well, those two guys were lucky that the easement fell right on the edge of their house,
Yeah.
right? It won't be nice for a surveyor to tell the guy to move the house, right? It won't be. All right. Mr. Bracken. Good afternoon. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great. Do you have any additional information you'd like to give us?
I think they covered it all, but I can answer any questions you might have.
No, it appears this is just some paperwork and nothing else has to be done, right?
Right?
All right. Any questions, folks?
Chairman, can I speak to this just a minute? Do you mind?
I don't mind at all.
Do I need to stand up?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Excuse me, Scott. I've surveyed several houses in this section, so if y'all understand what's happened, if you don't mind. When that development was put in.
I'm sorry, for the record, could you go ahead and
Tom Rowe,
thank you.
Mark White and his associates. So when that development was put in several years ago, there was some changes going on in the construction phase of the development. And they actually, for years, there's been a plat floating around that was prepared but never recorded. So some of the lots that I've surveyed a couple of those houses on that street, and I'm glad they're correcting it now, because no one in the past would. And there's actually some monumentation of the original right-of-way, and it is very true that it shifted in there. And so some homes have been bought and sold, and on the surveys we did, we kind of showed where the right-of-way was by the originally recorded plat versus kind of where the street is today. But that's kind of the history, just so you know, going backwards. They tried to do a replat years ago, but the firm doing it and the developer, something happened. And so if you can approve this and fix this for these homeowners, that's gonna be a great deal, because that whole little section of that development has been messed up.
Well, thank you, Mr. Rowe.
Right, and we checked all these houses that were built, and there are no encroachments with this replat, so.
Yeah, it looks like with the aerial photograph.
Right.
Good. Also, let the record show that the surveyors take up for each other, so that's good. All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard, so we'll close the public hearing. We've heard from the staff, also the surveyor, and the explanation of what has happened in the past. With that, I ask for a motion.
Motion to approve with 2 conditions.
We have a motion to approve. There's one condition, I believe,
There's
isn't
two,
it?
then there's a second one.
They had a second one.
Second.
We have a motion to approve and a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you. Folks, we're gonna wait a little bit for the city council to get here, and then we're gonna get to the rest of them. Thank you. Sir?
Interest rate change and people not understanding what interest rate is. Okay, I ain't ever seen a sign over there.
I just heard that, and then when I went there, they were packing up.
They never go to school, never.
Okay. Well, she was in Dallas when this happened. I heard Keezy was in dialysis in Houston when he passed.
I didn't know where it
Yeah,
used to.
yeah, but she was gonna be moving to Dallas with Shannon.
Yeah.
Good afternoon, Mayor.
How y'all doing?
1, 2, 3, 4.
Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. By popular demand, we're back, and we're going to have the Honorable Madam Mayor get us started.
Thank you. May I have the roll call, please?
Mayor Mouton,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Durio. Here. Councilmember Feldshaw.
Present.
Councilmember Turner, absent. Councilmember Neal, absent. Councilmember Getz, absent. Councilmember Samuel.
Present.
Thank you.
Thank you. This afternoon, you will have the opportunity to present your agenda items. Today will be the only opportunity that you will be able to speak, make any changes, or any recommendations. Once planning and zoning make their recommendation, they will forward it to the city council. Council will then vote on it within the next 2 weeks for approval. So anything that you need to recommend or change, make sure that you do it on today, because we will not hear it until, we will not see it again until it comes to us for a final vote. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. We're going to get started with PZ 2022-216, please.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
File PZ 2022-216 is a request for BNSF, from BNSF for a specific use permit to allow a new railroad spur south of Fannin Street and east of 4th Street. This item was tabled at an earlier meeting. There was some question, I think, about where a wall or berm would fit. We were requesting a berm or wall or some sort of screening and sound mitigation, I guess, for the residential properties there to the west of this new spur to help protect them from noise. And since then, BNSF has done some studies, and he's presented us with some, this is what was originally presented to us here. And this is a new drawing that he presented to us, showing where they're going to incorporate an 8-foot tall berm along that west edge of the new track for the majority of the distance of the track. There will be a section of the track, let's see if I can get the mouse to work. Is it up there? Okay, so this section right here will be a wall. There just wasn't room to extend a berm across this section. But the rest of it will be a berm, is what they're proposing. And he is also proposing the trees that we're requesting for the landscape buffer on that west edge of the berm, except for areas where, as in this area right here, there are some existing trees that they can use instead of replacing them with new trees, which is acceptable to us. So, staff is recommending approval of the request with the following conditions: that they construct an 8-foot tall brick or masonry wall or berm along the east edge of the new railroad tracks adjacent to the existing residential properties, that a 10-foot wide landscape strip with trees be constructed along the west perimeter of the new railroad track outside of the required berm or wall, except for those areas where trees can be saved. And number 3 is that BNSF participate in the city's rail crossing enhancement program by permitting a pedestrian crossing at BNSF's rail line at Riverfront Park. We're attempting to obtain an at-grade pedestrian crossing for the new Riverfront Park development, and I have a couple of slides to show you for that as well. I could run through the slides for the original rezoning as well. This is the subject property, and these are homes to the west, southwest, south and west, south. This is property to the east, And then we get to some of these rail crossings that we were talking. There are a number that we found on BNSF's line in Southern California. And this is just a couple of slides I have to show existing at-grade pedestrian crossings that they have on their rail line there in California. And this one's in San Clemente, as is this one. And I also found an at-grade crossing that looks to be very recent in Galveston, with a lot of landscaping and such right there by the track. So just to give you an idea of what it is we're asking for in that third condition. And that would be the presentation.
Good. If you don't mind, go back to your first slide of the revised drawing. There's a section you show as a wall, and would there not be landscaping next to that wall?
That's a good question. BNSF is here. They have a representative here who I'm sure we could ask and see.
Well,
what
it's
his
not a
response is.
question to him. We need to, what are we asking them?
I would suggest-
requiring them? We
Yes.
are requiring them to add.
In the
landscape.
ordinance, we're requiring it.
All right.
Well, actually, that area is extra. Where we're requiring the berm is up through here. This is where the properties are located for the rezoning, just through this area.
Okay.
So they're proposing this as above and beyond what we've asked for.
Well, while then they're in a good mood, we might as well ask them to put trees out there too, so
Okay.
it all look alike, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. We'll let my colleagues to twist their arms. Any questions for the lady? All right, the applicants in the audience?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon to you guys.
You see how nice we are?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you state your name and address for the record, please?
My name is Jeff Estes. I'm with BNSF Railway out of Fort Worth, Texas.
Good. Jeff, any additional information you want to give us?
No, I think Adina said it very well. We're proposing a berm and landscaping where there's not existing trees. We're going to try to save as many trees as we can, because that's probably the best cover.
Okay.
And then, like she said, we're going to go down below Forsyth Street. That guy on the corner there, we didn't want to take any more property from him, and so that berm would have messed that up. And so we're proposing kind of a wall at the end of that street, and then a berm on down. So
Is it possible for you to plant a few trees over there so it will all look alike at that side?
I can plant the trees if you can get rid of the third issue.
Oh, no, that would be a bad bargain.
What?
I'm not in that,
So
I'm not in that position there.
So on that third issue, I think we were supposed to keep those separate. I think Janelle Davis had called you and supposed to keep those separate. And I think you guys have been talking with Tim Huya on that stuff too. So I think you're hopefully getting close to working that out. But
Yes, sir. We have discussed it with him, and what our understanding is, we're being told that this should not be connected to the specific use permit, but when we request the at-grade crossings, BNSF is attaching this crossing to other crossings in town and asking us to eliminate other crossings in town. So we're not sure how those are related either. So
well,
It is one of the conditions, so we either agree to it or not. So
Yes, sir.
that's where we are right now.
Well, can you tell us your thoughts on the railroad crossing, the pedestrian?
so I'm in
Yeah.
the engineering department, and this is my project, and I do expansion projects. Tim Huya, he's my public projects manager, and he has I think Adina and maybe the other guy, Bart, I think his name was, had meetings with them. And so he handles all the at-grade crossings, the overpasses, the underpasses, anything that deals with the city, county, state, and grade crossings. So
Is he here?
he is not here.
Okay.
He's in Amarillo right now.
All right.
So
Counselor, can we add a new condition where the third one would be the third item and pass it on to amicable resolution by the legal and the planning office and approve the rest of it?
So you're asking to amend the third item.
Right,
So you're not adding an item, you're amending the third
amending
item.
it, right.
You can amend.
And then it would be upon your satisfaction and the planning office. Our approval would be contingent on amicable agreement of the item 3.
So you can't give a conditional approval.
All right.
So you can amend the item pursuant to, but you can't do a conditional approval.
What are you saying is we can amend it, we could take it off?
So you can amend it, and you can amend it depending on how you stated your motion, but you can amend it like saying in compliance with, you can amend it saying upon approval of, but you can't say
Perfect.
that, okay, you got me, right?
Perfect,
Okay.
perfect. Okay, well, this poor fellow, he doesn't know a thing about it, so I don't think he can commit the rest of the railroad.
I mean, I know that you're on the right track.
Good one.
So getting Tim Puya and his audience and then working that deal out is the best course.
All right, so we can suggest a motion to take the first two option and amend the third one upon approval of the planning and zoning, right?
Yes,
Or planning office.
planning zone.
So will that have to be resubmitted to us, the third one, or does that
No,
go
we can-
straight to you?
I can just say upon approval of the planning office.
Okay.
That way it won't come to us. But then if they don't approve it, then it won't go, right?
Is that
That-
right?
She says, yeah.
Thank you.
So whichever one of you is courageous to repeat that.
Are we still adding that tree line to that concrete wall?
So what do you think of the trees?
I can add the trees.
We add the trees. Number 4.
I have a question.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Does the wall and the berm have the same noise mitigating effect?
That I do not know. I don't think we were told that there's a noise issue. I think it was more of a site issue. And so I know that, I know dirt or berm would probably mitigate sound more than a wall, but, and we just put that wall in there. We were gonna try to build a berm the whole way, but we were limited on space and I didn't wanna get in that guy comes clear to the end of the foresight and then drives in his driveway. So I
Yeah.
didn't wanna mess him up by putting a berm across there. So we put a wall out there. It's like 110 foot or something like that. It's a precast concrete, about 8 foot tall panels that are put in there.
Mr. Beatty, that's fairly normal on the side of highways to mitigate
Yeah,
noise problems
exactly.
with the precast walls. So I'm sure it's gonna help them quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
Just had a question.
Great.
Yep, good question.
Thank you kindly.
All right, so we know what the motion is going to be, and we added item number 4 to add the trees next to the wall. So let's go. I would entertain a motion.
So moved for approval
All
with
right,
the
somebody's
conditions.
got to make the motion.
Motion to approve
That was
with-
my motion.
You gotta list all the conditions.
3 conditions, and out of 4 conditions, 3 is going back to, right?
All right, let's
No, let's
withdraw
start
your
over.
motion. I'll make a motion.
Yeah,
Okay.
sounds better.
I will make a motion to accept item number 1, 2, and 4, which is an added criteria for adding trees next to the wall. And the condition number 3 would be contingent upon approval of the city planning office. That is my motion.
Well
Second that
said.
motion.
We have a second, and any discussion? All in favor say aye. Any in opposition? The ayes have it. Thank you, and thank you for your sense of humor.
I think you.
All right. The next and the last one is PZ 2022247. We're breaking a record here.
Okay. File PZ 2022-247 is a request made by Jonathan Vernon for approval of a specific use permit to allow a dwelling unit along with a new law office in the Central Business District located at 681 Park Street. Although a law office is permitted outright within this district, a dwelling unit requires an approved SUP. The new construction will have a two-bedroom dwelling unit combined with the law office. The living quarters will be located behind the law office on the northeast side of the building, and it will be used 24 hours, 7 days a week, and the activities involved are those of daily living, such as bathing, sleeping, eating, cooking, laundry, socializing, and relaxing. This district does not require off-street parking or building setbacks. The contractor began to form the foundation without the benefit of an approved SUP or building permit. However, they have since applied for the appropriate building permits and await the outcomes of council. Residential uses within the downtown planning area may bolster economic activity hereafter due to an increase of pedestrian traffic. Staff recommends approval with the following conditions. Number 1, construction plans must meet all requirements by water utilities for water and sanitary sewer services, including any requirements of the city's backflow, pre-treatment and/or fog program, as well as all applicable building and fire codes. This is the aerial footage. This is the proposed site plan. This is the bird's eye view. This is the subject property, and to the northeast you can see that they began forming up the boards. No concrete has been poured yet. Further northeast, property to the north, east and southeast, to the south, to the southwest. And we do have the applicant present. 21 notices were mailed to property owners within 200 feet of the property. We received 0 letters in favor and 1 in opposition. The one in opposition was circled no, and then a note to the side saying unless they know what they're moving next to. And they're wanting to become a large church with 1,000 members. So that's going to put off music, noise, those kinds of things during the week. So he was concerned with the dwelling unit being there and them emitting noises. So as long as he's okay with that. But he did circle no on the letter.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for the lady?
What is the zoning for this? Commercial or residential? Because we have to together.
It's Central Business District. So it allows for many uses. A lot of them do require a specific use permit. In this case, the dwelling unit is the one that requires the approval from you guys, and the law office is permitted outright.
Thank you, ma'am.
Where's the church in relationship to the
It's way on the other side.
new building?
So I believe it's going to be right there. Let me go to the overview. I believe it's going to be right here.
Okay, thank you.
Folks, I have to beg for forgiveness. On the last case, PZ 2022216, I did not ask for public comments. If we may go back to that, is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak behalf or against the last case, which was BNSF Railway? None. Great. Thank you very much. We'll close that. Now we're going to go to the new one. Any other questions for the young lady?
No.
Nope. And the applicant is in the audience?
Yes.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
May
My
we
name-
have your name and address for the record?
Yes, sir. My name's Jonathan Vernon. My address is 215 Orleans Street here in downtown.
Mr. Vernon, you have any additional information you'd like to give us?
I'm aware of the church there. The pastor has my cell phone number. He wanted to buy the land at one point. Asked him for a price and he never got back to me, so I started on the project. The reason the forms got started, I was talking to Mr. Bo Hansen. It's Hansen, right? Mr. Hansen upstairs, and he was saying we could do a slab-only permit. I related that to my we could do a slab-only permit and get started. I related that to my contractor, and he heard only
Get started.
and get started. So the next day, I called the city because there's an existing, there's some existing foundation there, and I was calling the city to see if we could or could not use that. And so immediately made the city aware that we'd started without a permit. I come by Monday, I see the red tag, and I text my contractor, what's going on? And I figured out subsequently that he heard, let's get started.
Okay. Is this unit for rent, or you gonna live there, or what's the general idea?
I'd like to rent it out, but I also might live there depending on my,
Perfect.
circumstances.
Okay, great. Any questions for the gentleman?
How about parking?
So technically, I don't need any under the code, but there is plenty of parking available. I mean, like, it's not my parking, but the parking lot next to it, there's a restrictive easement over the, if you see there's like basically 3 sections of that parking lot there. They're owned by 3 different individuals. And there's an easement over the 2 larger ones of access. So no one can build anything there. They could all get together and block it off if they want to, but they'd have to coordinate action on that one. And I'm not even sure if they could get hold of the 3rd guy. So while I can't say people can park there and, stop someone from stopping them, people park there all the time right now. Whenever I've gone down to the municipal courthouse to get permits for street closings and things for a friend of mine, I've always parked there, no problem. The police and stuff park there all the time. And then there's street parking,
Right.
and then there's that parking, the catty corner city block. There's
Okay.
one building on it. It's full of parking.
Thank you.
So I don't think parking would be a problem, but I mean, I can't guarantee someone putting up a no parking sign or something.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am, please.
So it's a 2-bedroom dwelling, what is the square footage?
It's, I'm trying to do math. I think it's 920 square feet. They'd both be like 10 by 10 bedrooms, and then you'd have a living room, a kitchen, little laundry space, and
So when you
bathroom,
say
a full
say
bath.
both, you mean the law office and then?
yeah,
the
they'd each
apartment?
be, there's, it's 32 feet by 60 feet divided by the two units evenly. So they're both 920 square feet, if I'm remembering my math right.
So you're talking about 2 apartment units?
No, it's 1 unit with 2 bedrooms, and then the law office.
1 unit, 2 bedrooms.
For the apartment, yes, ma'am.
This here shows 950 and 850. Office area 950. Living area 850. Does that sound right?
Yeah, I don't know how to calculate the taken away for the walls that are in there, but that's about right. The wall in between them is about halfway down.
Any other questions? Thank you, sir. Is there anybody?
And I would say I'm aware of the church's existence. They were there before me. I get that downtown's going to be loud sometimes. That's how downtown's
Well,
are.
there are ordinances against that anyway,
Well, I mean,
so.
yeah, but I used to live in downtown Houston. And I know that there's traffic noise and stuff like that.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anybody in the audience that would like to speak for or against this case? Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon. If you would state your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Cassandra Bravo. I reside at 3115 Yasmin Dior, Beaumont, Texas.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm here representing Angels Drywall and A&M Property Management that owns part of the lot that's in the parking. We would like to move in favor of saying no, unless some kind of negotiation can be made with us and the owner in regards to our trailer that's in that parking area.
Okay, is your trailer next to this land?
Yes, it is. If you go to one of the pictures, you can actually see it
Sure.
on the side.
Sure, but the construction of this building is not gonna hamper your trailers being there, right?
No.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else that would like, no, sir. Is there anybody else that would like to speak for or against this case? None is heard. Well, Mr. Vernon, you had a comment about the trailer that's in the back. You can respond to that now.
It's my understanding that I don't have any rights to complain about the trailer on their property, so.
Good. You good? Perfect. Everybody's happy. I like that. Great. We have heard from the staff, the applicant, and also one of the neighbors. So with that, I'm looking, there is a condition, and we're looking for a motion.
Motion to approve with one condition.
We have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second,
With a condition.
with a condition.
Perfect. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any in opposition? The case is approved. Thank you very much. Madam Mayor, will you kindly let us go home?
Before I dismiss, on today, I would like to recognize Mr. Kenneth Williams that's in the audience, our new city manager.
Great, good to know you, sir. You're gonna have fun.
And Mr. Chris is here in the back.
Chris is hiding from us.
Yeah.